are joined now by Shane Young. He's an NBA analyst for Forbes Sports. Shane, how are you this morning?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys. How are you all doing?
Good morning, man. Good morning. In fact, we talked a handful of times. I'm kind of vibing with the StreamYard. So in case we ask anything ridiculous, we know that it's ridiculous because I don't know if you have a good poker face. Pretty.
Probably don't.
Well, you're talking. Listen, dab smack in the middle of Omaha. You're talking to two guys that really, really, really enjoy the NBA. So it's not always, it's not always in. It's not always cool to talk about. But man, I have to. We had to talk to you because we're trying to save the league and we don't want to panic, right? I asked Ravi the other day, I said, hey, do you remember a sport that kind of more openly its guys get after their own sport than the NBA? And I hard pressed to kind of find Max Crosby came to mind for the Raiders. Maybe that's outward, kind of spoken outwardly about the game. I got that from one of our listeners. But why do you think the NBA needs to, or why do you think the NBA kind of eats itself sometimes when it comes to marketing its own product?
Yeah, it's strange. And I think it only really happens on the TNT network at that level. I mean,
Mm.
ESPN, you'll see a few personalities here and there really criticize the state of the game, but for the most part, I think a lot of, the former players that they employ on ESPN are more modern. They've played more recently than like the TNT guys, but I don't know. It was very perplexing. I think the most popular example of this is the Draymond Green stuff, the comments over the All-Star weekend, and you know, like Draymond wasn't wrong about the format and the way the All-Star stuff kind of went down. Where I think he was completely wrong and out of line is like the comments he made on Saturday about just the state of the like regular season and NBA games in general. Um, and it was very disappointing to hear coming from who I think is one of the five smartest players I've ever watched, to be honest with you. Especially it's just a defensive mastermind like he is. So yeah, I mean, to your point, it is weird that the NBA is the only league that you really see this at that frequency. I think if you get some old heads from the NFL, they'll talk about it here and there, but for the most part, your
Very
NFL Sunday countdown, your Monday night shows, it's all praising the current stars, interviewing the current stars, getting to know them. When's the last time, I'll ask you this, when's the last time you saw like someone sit down with, I don't know, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or Nikola Jokic, our top two of MVP ladder this year, and get to know them, have a 15-minute sit-down interview where they break down film with them, like you kind of see with Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, or pick your star, pick your face of the NFL. We need more of that and less of the ripping on how the current league is.
I even saw hockey. That's one of the examples that we used the other day where hockey's talking to like Kachuk and Connor McDavid, and they're doing like these sit downs on what the significance of the 4 team tournament. And I said to Ravi, I said, what's so hard about promoting your own sport that way? You know what I mean? Like it just seems like it wouldn't be that difficult to do.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem the NBA has right now, and I'm sure you guys follow me. I'm pro NBA. Think it's in a really good place right now. I genuinely believe that. I'm considering they're on for an 11 year, $75 billion deal or whatever it is for with the media rights. But I I think the biggest problem is they're not doing the big time marketing with the stars that are coming up, the Tatums, the Shays, Jokic, pick your young star, John Morant, those type of guys. It's more so they're still leaning on Durant, LeBron, and Steph. And I'm not saying that it's going to be belly up or there's going to be major problems when those guys retire, but I think they need to start doing the things that you're talking about with the Connor McDavid example with the guys that are 24, 25, 26 years old. Anthony Edwards, another example.
So, Shane, as you're kind of talking about that, because I was going to bring up the lack of attention on the younger stars, because seems like they really are hanging on to that LeBron, Steph, KD era of the league. Is there any part of that that you think has to do with so many of the young stars being international guys, where it's just a little different, right? Whether it's Luka, you brought up Jokic, obviously Giannis, you've got Wemby. All those guys are national guys. Maybe we didn't watch them in college coming up. Like, how much of that is a factor in them not getting marketed the same way? Or is it just, hey, we've got our old heads that we love? I mean, I'm as big of a Steph Curry fan as you'll find. Is it just, hey, we're clinging on to these guys for dear life?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it is that. You don't want it to be that way. You want everyone to kind of be focused on or treated equally in that manner. But I think it is a factor because think about it, like, there's not a lot of personality, and I mean, Jokic has his own personality, but for him to be the unequivocal best player in the world to me, and I think for the last couple of years, and he's still in his prime, which is crazy to say. Like, you don't really know that much more about him other than he loves the horse racing, and like, you just don't really know that
Got
much
a couple
about
of
him.
tough
And
brothers. You know that.
yeah, exactly. And the big tough brother that'll stand up for him all the time. So like, I, you know, and that's not just the NBA's fault. That's the player's fault too. That's his fault. He doesn't want that. I mean, I remember being covering the finals in 2023, and he was visibly just frustrated every time he had to come up and talk to the media. So it's just something about those European stars, those international stars. They don't they don't want to be in front of the camera. They don't want to talk and give the interviews and open up. I think you know it's interesting because I think Wembanyama has that. I think he has the biggest personality out of all these international guys we've ever seen. I'll go a step to say that. But it might just be a little bit too early, and we know the Spurs aren't that good. So I don't know. I think it'll be really good in about 5 years with him. I mean, I think he will be the face of the NBA. He'll warm up to it, and the NBA will do a better job of that. And we have to give the NBA credit for this. Before he was even in the NBA, Victor Wembanyama, we saw highlights on the NBA's social media pages of him. Like, they were trying. But as you're saying, the random guy, and I'm just going to throw out cities like Detroit, Milwaukee, Indiana. Though the random fan isn't going to cling on those international stars they would like a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
I got to take advantage of your range, and I'll get to the top ends in basketball too. But let me give you two teams, and you give me some yay or nay on the belief factor to make a conference finals-esque type move.
Okay.
The Detroit Pistons.
Zero belief.
Zero. Okay. Houston Rockets.
Get the right matchup, and if you want to go like 1 to 10, I'm at like a 6.5 that they can make a deep run, because I'm not this defense wins championships guy, but Ime Udoka has proven to get results. So
Los Angeles Clippers.
ooh. Now, was the Barometer Conference Finals? Is that what that was?
Taking a run to the Western Conference Finals.
More than the Rockets. I have more belief on the Clippers than the Rockets. They have the best coach in the league, Tyronn Lue, and James Harden's been really good this year, and I'm always a quiet believer.
This may be more of a product of who they have to jump, but the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, the East is weird because they're the 4 seed. The Pacers are the 4 seed, and they are on track to have a better record than last year. I would say 5 out of 10. Don't think they will like last year. They kind of got lucky last year, but it's right there. Just have to upset a couple teams.
All right, I'm going to throw this one at you because I'm a homer here. I mentioned my Steph Curry love. They finally made a move to get him help, probably like 3 years later than I wanted him to. But with Jimmy Butler, any chance of listen, I don't even have championship aspirations, but can they make a conference finals?
Well, you and Draymond are certainly different, aren't you? He thinks they're going to the championship. Guaranteed it.
Got a little Dak Prescott in him.
I mean, listen, if we can get Olympic Steph back, then maybe.
Yeah. Look, if you told me Jimmy Butler was on the team October 22nd when the season tipped off, I would have said yes. Like, they are going to be a 55-win team easily. It's just too late in the game. You're one game above 500. You're probably going to be in the play-in. I'm not going to completely write them off, but getting to the top 6 is tough. So you're going to have to win a play-in game, maybe 2. It's not going to happen, but I think they are going to be playing at a 55-win pace from here on out.
As a diehard, lifelong I mean, Magic Johnson's my favorite player of all time. I'll be 50
Mm.
here shortly. So I'm a Lakers guy through and through. I've always struggled with LeBron. That's neither here nor there. But when you look at how this team has to play and kind of their options, I looked at him offensively and I'm like, gosh, could he play some center sometimes when they need
Uh,
or we get in the foul? Like, I'm just going through all these scenarios. When you look at the different ways that he and Luka can play together to make some sort of a run from 5 to wherever they're going to have to go, do you see it stylistically with the Lakers?
Absolutely, because all you have to think about is just close your eyes and envision one action. Luca handling the ball with LeBron setting screens for him. The defenders and those two defenders in that scenario aren't going to know what to do. Because usually, guess who the number one star in the NBA is over the last 5 years that's garnered the most on-ball traps? Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
He's been trapped more than 100 more times more than the next highest player. And if the defense can't do that now because LeBron is rolling down the lane on a 4-on-3, it's really tough to handle, and especially if a couple shooters don't connect. Dorian Finney-Smith, whoever it is in the corner, Austin Reeves, like it's going to be really tough to handle. Their problem is, as you guys know, like you watch ball, their problem is defense. I think Luka is going to be a turnstile for the rest of the year. Like LeBron already is. He's 40 years old. Let's give him a break on that. But they're not going to be able to stop that many people. But to your question, I think what people aren't asking is who's going to stop them. Like I could easily see them getting into a series with Memphis. I know Memphis is a lot better of a team right now, but
can the Lakers play at that pace?
Huh?
Can the Lakers play at that pace? I mean, Memphis is like tops in the league in pace of play.
Yeah, you're right, and I think that's where eventually Memphis would get them in a 6 or 7 game series. But it's like you could not tell me that you can't see Luka and LeBron stealing a couple games, and then the national attention's on that series. While Memphis lose again to the Lakers in a 2-7 matchup, something like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I think LeBron and Luka can average 30 apiece in the playoffs, but lose a series.
Shane, we'll let you go on this. Is this Boston's championship to lose again?
I won't say that. OKC deserves too much respect, but I am going to pick Boston to win it. But I don't think
just no love for the Cavs, huh?
I think we've seen Boston can handle that matchup. That's just what I'll say.
How much of the OKC love has to do with hopefully Chet coming back and being a factor?
Love it, man. If they can play two bigs, like look at Cleveland winning a crap ton of games with two bigs. If they can run two bigs in certain moments, I mean, you need stylistic versatility, and that's what Mark Daigneault and OKC has.
Especially defensively.
There you go. That's Shane Young, covers the NBA for Forbes. Shane, we appreciate it. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.